let me welcome all of you to this program. And for that, so today we have Mr. Amit Bhatt from Suntech. So he's the Senior Vice President there. And he's going to talk to us about how the corporate world is keeps on changing, and that speed keeps accelerating, as we always keep saying, and how to prepare for that world. Mr. Amit Bhatt, he is a mechanical engineer by training from VJTI in Mumbai. Incidentally, I also happen to be a mechanical engineer, and I also, eventually got into the IT field. So we also have to, always adapt to various demands from the corporate world, and we have to adapt to that. So he began his career as a mainframe developer back in 2002. With Wipro, and he led progressively increasing responsibilities there, and later in 2012 he joined IBM, where again he was part of India Software Labs. He was collaborating with product teams to deliver solutions to customers, and then he moved to Suntech in 2022 as Vice President of Engineering. And currently, he is the Senior Vice President of Engineering, leading the engineering team at Suntech. So, without further ado, I think I will, welcome Amit to talk to us about his topic.
Okay, thank you so much, Anand and Sangeeta. And good evening, everybody. Maybe some of you are not logging from India. I think all of you are from India, so it is good evening for all of you. Anand has already talked about me, so I will not waste any more time talking about myself. But what I will do today is share some insights and experiences, because I was also a fresh graduate at one point in time. So I had a lot of questions. Those questions got answered through my experience. And over my last 21, 22 years of experience, I have worked with a lot of interns, graduates. And through my experience, what I have learned, I'll share that. A lot of the content that I'll share today, I'll share the presentation, is all that I have either experienced myself or I have learned from others' experiences, my colleagues, the networks that I have. So this is not something that I have made up. These are all real world experiences. So I'm hoping that this content that I present, the insights I give, the experiences I share with you will be of help to you today, tomorrow, when you step into the corporate world. So that would be my goal for today's presentation. So you can probably note down questions that you have and ask towards the end. I think that's the format of the session. And I am going to now share my presentation, and somebody has to let me know whether you're able to see the presentation. Somebody should let me know. Is it visible?
We can see it full screen, yes.
Okay. So as Anand mentioned today, I would like to talk about how does today's fresh graduate prepare for an ever-changing corporate world, and that ever-changing being I would like to underscore that word because the world in general, and not just the corporate world, is changing at an alarming speed, right? And that speed is accelerating very fast, even in the corporate world. So that's why I chose this topic, because it's very, very relevant topic, especially for graduates who have to make that big move, moving from their academic domain to their professional corporate domain. Okay. So I will skip this because I've already spoken about it. So I've structured this presentation into 5 key topics. First of all, I firmly believe that if you have to solve something, you have to understand what you're dealing with. So we will understand the transition. For all of you who are fresh graduates, about to graduate, or are just stepping into the corporate world, it's very important to know what is the other side of the fence. Uh, before you jump over to the other side, what is that? What does that transition mean? What are those things that are new to you that you're not faced so far, right? So we'll try to understand that, and then what are the skills that will help you to make not only make the transition but then thrive in the corporate world, right? And how do you plan your career? Starting right away, actually, not when you join a corporate organization, but right away. And then some things I do not want to talk about work-life balance because that's a very broad concept, and there are a lot of things happening around that. So, but I wanted to touch upon one thing that will be very, very useful to you. Something that I have myself struggled with, but with various degrees of successes, I have tried kind of been got to a point where I think I'm good at it. So it's time management, right? And finally, I'll sum this up with what is today's corporate world looking for when they go and try to hire fresh graduates, right? So that is how I will end this, and then we can get into the question and answer session, right? So this is 6:40, so I'll try to probably finish it in 20 minutes. Okay. Uh, let's understand the transition. Okay. There are you will when you step into the corporate world, right? You will see a lot of things that are new, right? But some things you'll be able to adapt very fast, but some things will give you a very cultural shock, right? You'll not know how to deal with it. But I'll give you some fundamentals that if you really follow them, uh, it will not be very difficult for you to make the transition, right? The biggest, and I am repeating that, the biggest cultural shock you'll get is that corporate world is all about team. Okay, it's not a cliche. I mean, it's a cliche, but let's not leave it at a cliche. But it is true that see, I'll give an example. In your academic world now, it's all about individuals, right? Uh, Other than the areas where you are doing a team project and all those things, right? So, for a simple example, that you get your semester results. It's all individual results, right? And you look at your result. If it is as per your expectation, you're happy. If it is not as per your expectation, you're not so happy. If it is beyond your expectation, you are ecstatic, right? But it's all about individual. That's not how it works in the corporate world. Individual brilliance, individual performance obviously is taken into account, but at the end of the day, what matters is that a team has to be successful. If an organization has a goal, no matter how brilliantly you did as an individual, but if that goal is not met, you will see that impact in many ways, right? So let's say a project that you are part of, you may have done brilliantly, but the project is not successful. If project is not successful, that means the organization has missed a goal. If organization miss its goal, that means there has to be impact in some way, right? So your promotion may not happen. That bonus that you are waiting for, that may not come. That salary revision you are expecting, it may not come or may come, not as per your expectation. So success and failure of team is first before that of an individual. Okay, and which means that you have to align with the organization goals. That is very, very important. If you want to be making the transition very, very fast, you have to quickly understand what is that my organization is doing, why, right? If an organization is making a banking software, you need to understand what that banking software is, right? So that is very, very important. Otherwise, you'll find yourself organization is going in one direction, you are going in another direction, and then that transition will never happen. You'll never blend because you're going in a tangent, right? And another thing that is very, very important and very different to academic space is the impact of your output is huge. Okay, you do a project in your academic year, let's say final year project. Yes, it has an impact on the grades that you will get, but very rarely is that used in the real world, right? That product, whatever you build, let's say you build an app, it does not really impact at that point in time, right? But when you are working on a project, the impact is huge. Okay, there are various examples. You can go and search internet, where one bad line of code, one untested code has led to losses, job losses. Okay, companies have lost their reputation. Companies' stocks have crashed because there was one bad line of code, right? Recently, there was an incident that happened because of a security concern. Okay, so remember that that one, it is about the team, and within the team, it is the quality and impact of the output that really matters. These two things are very, very different in an academic career. Okay, so please keep that in mind when you make that jump. Okay. Second thing you'll find is that change is the only constant. I know that's a phrase that is very often used, but in corporate world, change is the only constant. You will have ambiguity. Hardly any project starts with more than 20% clarity. Okay, you have to start with ambiguity. Unknowns are plenty there. Okay, and you will face changes. Your team will change without you getting too much time to prepare for it. All of a sudden, technology will change. Right, your milestones will change. So you have to make peace with that. You have to be ready to embrace the change because change is not going to stop. Change is going to be there every day. I repeat that every day there is going to be change. The way you expect to start a day tomorrow is not. It happens to me almost every day. Okay, so you have to make peace with that. Don't resist change. Okay, don't be scared of unknowns and ambiguity. Okay, you have to deal with ambiguity. You have to. It's like driving in fog, right? You have to go 5-10 kilometers from point A to point B, but the visibility is only probably 10 meters, right? So you don't just stop. You don't wait for fog to one uh, strategy is to wait for fog to go off, right? So that then you have the clarity. Now, that may happen in weather conditions, but in corporate that doesn't happen. The fog is always there. So another strategy and the best strategy to do is that you move those 10 meters first, then you get visibility of another 10 meters, and that is how you cover the distance. So don't be scared of ambiguity and don't resist change. Third thing is the onus of self-development. Okay. Now in academic career, in your colleges, it is given that your self-development will happen because courses are chartered that way, and that is the whole responsibility and accountability of education institutes is to actually uh, uh, ensure that your skills are enhanced, right, in whatever area you are. That is pretty much also the case in the organization, but the onus is on you. Organization will give the structure framework of how you will pick up some skills, how you will do some stretch projects, but onus is on you. Okay, nobody is going to tell you there that okay, you know what, I'll help you pick up this skill and complete this certificate in 3 months, and I will spend 3 hours every day with you. Very rarely it happens. Okay, it's on you. Skilling up, and you have to skill up. Okay, the skill that you have today may not be relevant tomorrow. You have to keep in sync with what is happening in the industry. First of all, what is happening in your organization. Okay, if your organization is moving towards AI, you have to pick AI. If your organization is moving towards blockchain, you have to skill up yourself in the blockchain. Okay, and another thing that I have seen graduates struggle with when they join the organization is that do I create, do I reuse? Okay, so because these are often seen to be two conflicting ideas. Okay, so many graduates reach out to me saying that, you know what, if I reuse, then how will I learn technology? Then if I spend time in creating, I'll miss the deadline. So there is a fine balance. What I often tell my team is that even if you're a fresh graduate, depending on how much time we have to deliver something, I tell them, you know what, just explore for this amount of time. Okay, don't just keep on exploring. Explore for this amount of time. When you are stuck, go and ask for help. And if somebody's already solved something, you don't have to solve that problem. There are enough problems for all of us to solve. Somebody has solved certain things. Somebody has written a piece of code. You don't have to write that from the scratch. You can reuse it. Yeah, what you can do is while you are using it, you need to understand how that code works. Okay. And third thing I'll talk about here is collaboration. Collaboration is pretty much also happening in academic career, but then it is not that important there. As I said, that is more of an individual driven effort. But in corporate, especially these days, collaboration is looked at as one very key aspect of success. So you have to collaborate. What is collaboration? Collaboration does not mean just you teach. You have to learn also. No matter how experienced you get into your this thing, that thing is not going to go away. Okay. And it is through collaboration that you actually learn that the problem that you're facing has already been solved by somebody. Okay. So it's often said that you don't have to learn by mistakes, your mistakes. You can learn by other mistakes also. Okay. So it is about team in corporate world. Change is only constant. You have to ensure that you are adaptable, flexible, and onus on self-development. That's on you. Okay. Organization will provide the means framework, but it is on you to ensure that you skill up in areas that are relevant to the industry, that are relevant to the organization. Moving on. Now, how do you actually ensure that you deal with these three areas effectively from day one? And this is what organization also look at. So I covered most of this, but I will just try to kind of go a bit more deep into this. You would have heard or you'll hear this word a lot or two words a lot. That is developing a growth mindset. Okay. Many people may not even know what that means. Okay. What it means is that you help your team, yourself, and the organization grow. Those are the behaviors that you have to show. Okay. First of all, you have to understand that what is my organization goal? And your very first day, second day, third day, or even for first 3 months, you may not understand that because sometimes goals are very vague and you may not be able to make that sense. But you should at least understand that if I am doing something, if I am part of a project, what does this project mean to my organization? How does this project help my organization meet its goal? Every organization will have a vision, right? How does my project help my organization to meet that vision? I tell you one thing: no organization today will execute a project that does not help it meet its vision. It's impossible. Okay? Even if it is meant for research, there will be a vision, there will be a goal. So it's very, very important for you to understand that if I am part of this journey, why am I part of this journey? How can I ensure that I am contributing to this journey? Okay. And seniors, your mentors, they can help you understand that. Then you align your interests, your goals to the organization goal. Okay. Usually your manager will give you goals, but you have to understand that. Okay. So my goal is doing this. Okay. This is how if I achieve my goal, this is how I will help my organization achieve that goal. Okay. As I said, you have to embrace change and innovation. You have to innovate. Okay. Be open to new ideas. Okay. A new idea may come on second day only. What would be that new idea? That may be okay. You know what? Yesterday you were in this team. You have been here only for one day. Today you will join another team. Okay. Obviously you have to ask. I'm not saying that you accept everything without asking. You have to ask. Okay, why? Why is this change happening? Right? What does it mean to me? But be open. Don't just say no. I will not go there because I have already learned some things on day one. No, that call has been taken because that is what is required for the organization on that day. You have to be open, but you have to understand why am I making that change? Why am I part of that change? What does it mean to me? What is that I have to do to be able to contribute to that change? Okay, so embrace change. And many times, what happens with graduates? Okay, I've seen it at least in the first 2 years. Okay, if you learn something, you find it very difficult to unlearn. Okay, unlearning is an art. Okay, what do I mean by that? There is a certain way you've been writing code. Okay, now you move to another team, those standards are not accepted. You have to probably use a code generator to write the code. Okay, that means you have to unlearn a lot of things. You have to give up certain aspects, certain practices that were relevant till yesterday. You have to give up them today. So don't hold on to that. Don't hold on to that. Change. You already learned that. There's no point in holding on to that. Learn something new. But sometimes what happens, what stops us from learning something new is because we don't want to unlearn. We don't want to give up. We carry that baggage. And I've seen many freshers struggle with that. We carry that baggage. I did it myself. We carry that baggage from our college days. Okay, this is how I did my project. And then we kind of continue with that. Okay. And this learning is lifelong. This will continue. Whatever I'm telling you today, this will hold true today. And this will hold true after 20, 25 years of your career. Okay. And skills, that you understood what my organization goal is, you understood what is your role in that. How do you actually ensure that you are ready for that role, right? And this is not only when you join the organization, I'm telling you today. Okay. So there are two types of skills that are very important, equally important. One is your technical skills, technical and analytical skills. Another is your soft skills. These soft skills are becoming very important. Technical and analytical skills, what do you do with technical and analytical skills? How do you understand or make a decision that today I will start learning this? 6 months down, I'll start learning this, right? So what you do is you actually again ensure that you do some research. There's a lot of knowledge on the internet, or you talk to your seniors. What is industry looking at for next 5 years? Today we know AI. You know very much that AI is the way to go. Now, does that mean that all of us have to learn AI? And if we don't learn AI, then we won't have a career? No, it does not mean that. Right? But you have to have an understanding of AI. Not AI as a AI developer, but usage of AI tools. Because that's where the industry is going. Right? There's a lot of push on sustainability. That's where the industry is going. Okay. So you have to understand where is the industry going? What is really going to be clicking for next 5-10 years? And that is how you pick up skills. And this you should actually, I'll request all of you, if you don't know already, just go after this session and look at it. What is AI outlook for industries for next 5-10 years? What are the technologies that industry is investing in right now? Research is happening. If something is getting researched today, that means that is your future. That thing will come in. And that is the skill you have to pick up. Quantum. People are thinking it is very far away. We don't know. In 5 years, that may be the end thing. So look at the trends. Okay. So while past will give you experience, future will give you the foresight. That is very important. Okay. So you have to understand where the industry is moving, and that is how you invest in your. Those are the skills you pick up. Okay. Then soft skills, equally important, but heavily ignored. Everybody ignores these skills, but these skills are very important. Communication, networking, collaborating. These are the skills that I personally look at first before technical skills, to be very honest. Because I know everybody will have technical skills. Come out of college, you have technical skills. But these are skills that are not taught so well in the college, right? Especially in a country like ours, where we have different languages, different ways to communicate. But then when you come into the corporate world, there is only one language, right? It becomes difficult. But communication is not about vocab. You don't have to have, fantastic vocab. It's about how to communicate clearly and effectively. When you talk to someone, how are you precise? How are you clear? How you avoid confusing somebody? And that often comes, I'll tell you, I have seen it. Good communicators are not those who have a very strong hold on language. Always, a good communicator is someone who knows his or her subject. If you're talking about AI, if you know that AI very well, more often than not, you'll be able to communicate well. So when I talk about effective communication, I am indirectly saying that know your stuff. Then you'll be able to communicate. It is not about obviously you need to have some hold on language, but it's not about you need to have, degrees in communication, then only you can communicate. No. As in many people whose vocab is not that great, but they communicate very well because they research, they prepare, they rehearse. Okay. Teamwork and collaboration I already spoken about. There's one thing that I will talk about, which I have seen freshers struggle, is about emotional intelligence. Okay, emotional intelligence is a very big topic. I'll request you guys to probably go and talk, research about it after this session. But it is about how do you control your emotions. Okay. Many times you will, especially in the first year, maybe your manager cancels your leave, or maybe you get a feedback that you don't like, or maybe you get compared to somebody. Okay. Everything has a reason. I'm not saying everything is right, but for you, you have to ensure that you don't react in a way that disturbs the team dynamics. There are ways to communicate. There are ways to express your frustration. Organization have guidelines. Please follow that. Okay. Because at the end of the day, as I said, you are part of a team. You are not an individual. Okay. Uh, Going on your own journey. Your journey is part of an organization journey. So ensure that you are emotionally intelligent, and all of us can be emotionally intelligent. That is a food for thought for all of you guys. Go and research this topic. It is becoming more and more relevant in today's world. Okay. So this I will talk about this. I will not spend a lot of time on this, but I will just sum this up. Okay, critical thinking and problem solving. See, many people today, and it has happened over the past. When computers came, people got worried. Computer will take our jobs. Programming came. Okay, a lot of things will get automated. Now AI is coming. Oh, AI will take our jobs. No. So what is our job at the end of the day? Our job is not that we have to learn a language and write code in that language. No. Okay. Our job, our career is that of a problem solver. Okay. If you really understand that, you are a problem solver. This is something that I have learned from our founder and CEO, Mr. Nandakumar. He keeps telling this. Even after so many years of his success, he still thinks of himself as a problem solver. And it is very, very important. If you look at yourself as a problem solver, okay, you will always be relevant, you will always be essential to the world, to the organization. It is just that the tools, how you solve that problem is changing. Yesterday, you were solving that tool by writing Java code. Today, you are solving that problem by generating AI code, by letting an AI assistant generate that code. But think like a problem solver. There's a problem, you understand the problem, you think of a solution. How that solution gets implemented, that is changing. If you get that idea right, if you work on that aspect, if you think yourself as a problem solver, you'll never have a problem yourself. Okay. These are the things that I said, you have to be a decision maker, creative thinker. Another thing I'll check is, what do problem solvers do? Okay. That's why I mentioned cause resolution strategies. This is where a lot of people struggle. Even I have struggled. Is that we often, problem solver is somebody who understands the problem, root of the problem, and solves the root of the problem. Okay. You get it? You have to solve the root of the problem. It's like a doctor, right? You go to a doctor. Doctor says, okay, you have very high temperature. What does the doctor? Doctors do not reduce the temperature by pouring ice on you, right? They do some checkups, try to fix the root cause. Because fever is because of something. Fever can be because of 1,000 things. What is that one thing that is causing your body to react that way? Doctor solves that problem. Be a doctor. Solve the problem. Solve the root cause, not the symptom. You will see that many times in your day-to-day job. You have different symptoms. A report is missing. UI is not working properly. Right? Screen is taking 10 minutes. Always go to the root. Prevent. Don't just correct. Okay? This is something very, very relevant to you. And it will be always relevant. This is something that I learned almost 10 years into my career, and I wish I had known that earlier. Is that whatever you do, I know I said that your journey, you have to align with your organization goals, but you should have a career plan. And career is different to job. There's a difference between job and a career. Okay. Job is more like what you're doing on that day or for that month or the 2 months. Job is defined by your organization, by your project, uh, by your team. That defines what you do, right? For that month, 2 months, 3 months. Okay, you have to do these tasks. This is the output that's expected. So it is a more of a contained, defined world for you. Career is much, much bigger than that. Career is what you define for yourself. This is what I want to be 2 years down the line. This is what I want to be 5 years down the line. You would have heard this, right? Many companies ask at at the time of interviews. What is that you want to be after 5 years, 10 years, right? So that means that you have to have a career plan. So you have to identify what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and if something doesn't work for you, how do you work on that? What is your short-term goal? Short-term is probably in 1 year. What do you want to do? Somebody wants to learn DevOps. Somebody wants to learn AI. In 5 years, I want to be an architect, or in 10 years, I want to be a project manager. You put that, you have your journey, and you plot that I want to be here. And then once you have that journey, then you actually define. And it's very important to have those timelines that I want to be here in 5 years. And how do you meet that? What do? You skill up, you do some stretch projects, you do some certifications, or maybe you have to go for higher education, right? Because career is not, as I said, it's not 1 year. Career is the entire professional career is your career. So it's very important to have that plan. And what is important for the plan? You have the milestones. How do I reach those milestones? What is needed for me to reach those milestones? And how do I actually evaluate every 6 months? Am I on track? I had defined this, that I will do it in 1 year. I had said I'll do 2 certificates. After 6 months, I should have done at least 1 certificate. I have not done that. How do I do that? Because if you don't make those small investments, you will not be able to make your career goal. Okay. So an action plan is very important. I'm just giving you pointers. You can search things on internet how to do it. Okay. These are things that some of the things I had done and it helped me. Some of the things I learned it very hard way. For first 10 years, I did not know where I'm going. It's only in 2009. That's why, Anand also mentioned that my real interest was in project management. That's why I moved in 2009. So for 7 years, I had no idea what I was doing. I was doing well individually, but it was not aligning with my career. Okay. Another thing is that most newcomers miss and do not understand the importance of feedback. Okay. So we often wait for the appraisals to come, whether it is 6 monthly or 1 year, and then we are shocked. Oh, I did not expect this. But while it is a responsibility of the manager to give the feedback, but it is even more, it's a bigger responsibility for all of us, for all of you to actually seek feedback. I recommend it to my team that they should ask for feedback every month, if not every week. When you are joining your organization or wherever you join, please make it a point that you ask for feedback. You should know that if I am doing something, I feel I am doing right, but does the manager think that I am doing it right? Or does the organization think that I am doing it right? Okay. Get the feedback, review that feedback, ask the reasons for that feedback, correct that feedback. Then you will know. Then you will not get a surprise at the end of the year. You will know what you are getting. And the way to work on that feedback is only one thing. You educate, train yourself, do the stretch assignments, do the corrections, and then get another feedback whether you have bridged those gaps. Okay. You'll always have gaps. There is never a perfect professional. You'll always have gaps. Okay. You'll cover all the gaps. You will move up a role, new gaps will appear. Okay. So, a lot of focus on work-life management, balance, and all this stuff. I will not get into that, but what I'll tell you that you will find it very difficult to manage time. Okay. In your academic space, time is almost known that from 9 to 5 is what you'll do, and maybe 1 hour you have to do things after that. There's no such thing in corporate world that, unless you manage your time, you'll find it very difficult because things are very demanding in the world. Corporates are moving at a very breakneck pace. If you don't do things properly, you'll find yourself flogging. Okay. So there are some techniques. You have to prioritize tasks. Progress over perfection. That is the world we live in. Okay. Don't go for a perfect design. There's nothing called perfect design. You have to progress. Whatever is asked for, there will be a requirement. You have to meet that requirement. Don't gold plate. Okay. There's no point in building a car that is of gold, right? There's a definition of a car. You meet those definitions, you move on. Okay. And always another thing that I have struggled myself, and I have seen many freshers struggle, is that we get into execution right away. No. AI tools available with so much of knowledge available, so much of information available. Execution is not that difficult. It is the thinking and designing that execution. You get a problem. If you are given 8 hours for that, don't jump into solving that problem right away. Think about it. Is that problem understood to you? What is that you need to actually do to find the root cause of the problem? Define your solution. How will you actually know whether your solution will work first time? I'll say spend 60% time actually designing and thinking about it, and only 40% time in execution. What we do is we spend all the time in execution, and then we find that, oh, I did not understand the problem right. You'll actually end up spending 24 hours instead of 8 hours, 3 times more time. That's what is happening every day. I also used to do the same thing, and even I still end up doing the same thing, even though I try to myself ensure that I am thinking more. But it is something that you have to practice. Okay. And always another thing that really works is that don't push heavy items. Let's say you've been given a week time and you have 5 things to do. Pick up the most difficult item first. Okay. You leave it, it will just eat up your weekend. That's what I mean by take up high risk item first. Okay. And biggest advice I'll give is please use technology. Anytime you find that there is a scope to automate something, automate it first. Even if it takes you 1 day extra, it will benefit you tomorrow, day after, it will benefit many others. And embrace AI. Use AI as your assistant. AI can do things much, much faster than us. Spend time on thinking as much as possible, automate things as much as possible, use AI. This will save your time and you will have your weekends. You will finish your time work as per plan and you will get things right first time. There's something called FTR, first time right. If you do things first time right, I'm telling you, most of the IT workforce will not have to really slog the hours that they do now. Okay. So I'll just spend two. So what do corporates look for, right? I have mentioned this attitude over certificates. Okay. Mentioned it because that's what I look for people in teams, not only when hiring, but even when an experienced member comes into my team. First of all, that person has to be a team player, and that's why it was my first line there, right? Uh, they have to. The moment I see somebody who is individual result oriented, I get a red flag. They have to be problem solvers. I don't want people who just correct every time. You have to prevent. This problem should not happen again, so that nobody else faces it again. Okay, and you should always be open to learning. Growth and inclusive mindset. I spoke about it. Creative thinking, and the another thing that I really like and that corporates look for is that you should be adaptable, flexible, and open to change. I also checked. I also talked about this. If you look at the 6 points, right? I have nowhere I have talked about this technical skill, this certificate. I want somebody who is excellent in Java, who knows AI. No, it is. Those are given. There will be thousands and thousands of people who are excellent in Java, excellent in AI. But what really makes a difference in the corporate world is actually these 6 things, because these cannot be taught. These come from within. This is something that you have to work on yourself. Organization make you frameworks and things to do, but these are something that you have to come from you within. Everything else is available. Everything else, organization can teach you Java, can teach you AI, but nobody can teach you unless you want to become a team player. Nobody can really make you a problem solver unless you want to be a problem solver. I cannot force you to learn anything unless you want to learn, right? Okay. I cannot make you flexible and adaptable unless you say, no, I am flexible. I want to be flexible. I want to be open to change. Okay. This was something that I thought I know I took a bit more time, but I think now it is 7:30. I can take questions if some of you want to ask me questions. Otherwise, these were some important points that I want to cover. You can ask me questions now, and I'll try my best to answer those questions. Do we have time for questions, Anand, or have I eaten up all the time?
No. We keep a 1 hour window, so I think we have enough time for questions if people want to ask. I have to keep saying this all the time. These are rare opportunities we get. Even back in our times, we never got such opportunities to speak to for that matter, anyone from the industry, usually it is difficult. So when we are getting such opportunities, learn to ask. That is also one of the skills. Actually, we realized later when we started working that to ask good questions is a skill. You can use this as a opportunity to practice that skill. So please speak up if you want to, or you can also ask in the comment box if you don't want to speak up.
If you, until somebody really gather the courage to ask questions, if you have any questions from the earlier set or people have asked on your platform, you can ask that. I can try to answer that. Maybe that will break the ice. And
speaking what we have to.
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to ask was, what would be a good sources of information for people to, understand, what are the trends in the industry and how do we keep ourselves updated? Because there is a lot of hype around, when we read popular articles or if we look at LinkedIn, how do we, separate hype from the important things?
yeah, so there are some forums, but I have also faced this problem. But what I have done recently, I have used ChatGPT to get the sources. Okay. Right now, I do not think you should go anywhere other than ChatGPT. Okay. Or there are, like, Medium is a very good source where there are very genuine articles written. But if you go to ChatGPT, and I will encourage all of you to use ChatGPT. ChatGPT is really the assistant that has been missing for so far. Okay. You ask a question, it will give you exactly how you want it. You ask for sources, it will give you sources. You then ask, give me the most reliable source, it will give you the reliable source. So there are sources many, as you said, but if you really want to get reliable sources and you really want to get concise information, you really want to get relevant information that you want, please use ChatGPT. That is one source because it will do the work for you. Okay. Otherwise, if you really want to read articles, Medium is a very good place that I really like because there are articles that are very, very relevant to today and what the future will hold for us. That's also good. So I would suggest just try ChatGPT first. You may struggle to, because what is really, really important for you to get right results for ChatGPT is for you to ask the question, right question. It's something called, this is a skill that is actually a lot of um, organizations are investing in, and it's a very interesting skill. It's called prompt engineering. Okay. So prompt engineers are that as very, very valuable members who have that skill. The way you ask a question, if you ask a question to an AI model properly, it will do a lot of work for you. It will give the information that you want. Right? So let's take Google, for example. If you ask something, Google is a broad thing, right? It will give you stuff from the internet. But ChatGPT, if you ask the question right way, if you give its right inputs, you don't need to go anywhere else. It will give you exactly the right information, right stats. Then it will also list sources for you. So prompt engineering is actually another thing that you guys should look on because that's a future skill. Okay, there are some questions. Could you briefly explain about their major concepts, sir? I do not understand. Maybe it is concepts about chat GPT, right? I cannot go into detail of chat GPT, how that works. That is like another 10 hours of this thing. But I can tell you what it does is that, see, it is like this, right? If you go to a restaurant, say, I'm hungry. Will it work? No, right? If you go to a restaurant and you sit on a table, say, I'm hungry. It won't work, right? You have to say that I am hungry and I want, let's say, pav bhaji, and I don't want it very spicy. That's when you will get exactly what you want. Same thing with ChatGPT. So far, we did not have that option in any search engines, but ChatGPT gives us that option. So if you ask that question rightly, say for example, let us say you want to understand about how AI models are built, right? What is that? So you have to ask. If you say I want to learn about AI, that's it. You will not get it because then there's no difference between Google and ChatGPT. But if you want to say that I want to learn how to build AI models that use this as input and give me this as output. So I have data, customer data, I have their location, I have their shopping history. I want to build a model that will tell me whether this customer is likely to buy a certain electronic device in December. If you do that, you will exactly get a model that you wanted. That is the method that you use, and that is how it will actually work for you. Okay. Yeah, ChatGPT and AI. How can it stay relevant and consistent in increasingly automated job market? That's a Prabhu. So good question. Let the world evolve. Let the job market become as competitive as it can. But if you are able to be a problem solver, you will not lose your relevance. Okay. So if there's a problem, your title is not a developer, your title is not a test engineer, your title is not a project engineer, your title is a problem solver. You are solving a problem. Okay. There's a performance issue, you're solving a problem. Okay. Now, how do you solve that problem? Do you solve that problem by writing a code or by or using some automation or using some product or using some customized product? That is just the tools. That is how to do it. But what? If you know what I have to do, what I have to solve, what is the root cause of that? That is how you stay relevant. And then when you have that understanding of that, I have to solve this problem, you will stay relevant because you will know that, okay, to solve me this problem, I need this. Is it available in the market? Yes. Then you use that. That is how you stay relevant. There is no other way to stay relevant. You cannot stay relevant by just learning technology one after another, because that will change. That is for your learning. You have to keep learning. But at the core of it, you have to be a problem solver. Okay. Increasingly automated job market, I'm just extending my answer to that, is not a problem. That's actually very, very good for us. If there is automation, it only means that we can do more thinking. Okay. Some tools will do execution for us. It is the thinking that we don't do. Our problems, most of it, are because we do not think much. We get directly into execution. Our job as humans, why are we superior to machines? Why are we superior to other species? Because we have the ability to think. And it is unfortunate that is the one ability that we have more than any other species or machines. We don't use that ability. It is think. Think time. Give yourself more think time. Automation, tools, languages, software, that is there to help you execute your thought process. You should spend more time in thinking. Okay? Then everything else is not a problem. And I'm not simplifying it. It is difficult to do, I know, but it is the recipe. I have seen, for my 22 years, I've seen projects fail. I've seen many projects fail. I've seen projects succeed. One thing, that's not the only thing, but one thing that has stood out is because in the projects that failed, we're not thought through enough. We have rushed into the execution. And then at the end of the day, we find, oh, you know what? I did not understand this properly. First of all, I did not even understand problem properly. Many times projects fail because they have not even understood the problem, which is requirements in another. If this thing is requirements, if you don't understand requirements, that means you don't understand problem. Please do not look at automation as a threat. It is not a threat. Automation needs to be done. Automation needs to happen every day. Then only we as professionals, will get more time to think and solve the problems. And there is plenty of problems. Don't worry. there is less solutions every day, more problems coming up. Okay, so we will never fall short of problems. Any more questions? No?
Yeah, I think this is also one of the, like I said earlier, one of the skills that we need to
Yeah.
pick up.
So that's why I mentioned prompt engineering is nothing but asking questions. Okay, it's you don't need to be. See, there's a saying: if you don't ask the question, answer is always no. Don't ask, answer is always no. That means if you don't ask, you don't get it. And that's what I meant by effective communication. When you go into the corporate world, it will become very, very important for you to ask the question, because if you don't ask, nobody's going to come to you and answer your question if you don't ask the question. Good. There's a question from Arshia. If someone wants to do the career in product manager, what can you suggest about the skills or the certification? See, if you want to be a product manager, it's very important that one thing, it depends on which industry product that you want to see. If you want to do banking or retail or health, so it is very, very important that you learn about the industry first. For a product manager, that is the most important skill. You need to understand the industry. Again, there are many industry certifications. So you need to first of all find out which industry you want to be playing in. Okay. Uh, Many people these days try to do product certification in retail industry, because that's where a lot of products are getting built with Amazons, Flipkarts, and all the world. Banking is another area where a lot of uh, uh, people are trying to make their career into product management. So to answer your question, yes, you need to first of all decide what is the industry you would like to take up. You must have some preference for the industry, because if you are thinking about product manager, that means you have that inclination to that. And then you look at certifications. Okay, skills, again, you need to know the industry. Okay, see, certification is a tool for you to prove to yourself that you know certain things, or prove to the world as a badge, right? But more than certification, what really matters is do you have the knowledge? Okay, so pick up your industry. If you pick up your retail industry, there are certifications. You can search for it. Learn about the industry. Learn about the products that are there in the industry. For a product manager, it is not so much important to know about the product. It is more important to know about the industry, because again, it goes back. If you know the industry, what you will know is that you will know what are the practices of the industry, what are the problems of this industry, and how some people have solved those problems. What does the product manager do? Product manager does nothing but actually devises product, designs product to solve this problem. First of all, you have to know the problem. For you to know the problem, you have to know the industry. I'm summarizing: know your industry, research about that industry. Again, go to ChatGPT and find articles. Okay, find the courses from there. But your number one step is identify the industry that you want to play in. Then read about that industry. Still see, is that the industry you want to play in? Then go for certifications. Okay. Various industries have different certifications for the career that you're looking at? It's a good career, by the way.
Maybe you could also share a little bit about if somebody is getting into development, especially in the early days. How important is understanding non-tech things like the industry they're working in?
Yeah. So for development, to start, it is not that important, to be very honest, but it helps. But as you build your career, it definitely helps. I'll tell you what is really needed for a developer or anybody for that matter to start with, right? There is something called T-shaped competency. I don't know how many of you looked at. Is that in today's world, uh, you have to have that proficiency and competency. It's called T-shaped. T-shaped. Okay. T means it has a horizontal bar. It has a vertical bar. Vertical bar means depth. So you should have depth in one or two areas. For example, you have to be very good at Java, for example. Okay. But is that enough for you to be a developer? No, that's not enough, because there's hardly anything that just works on Java, right? So you have to have breadth. That means you have to have some understanding of database. You have to have some understanding of UI. You have to have some understanding of scripts. You have to have some understanding of how web development happens. But you need to have depth in one. That can be, you can have depth in Java. You can have depth in database. For a developer, that is more important. Okay. Industry, knowing about industry to me is not important for a developer in the first as it starts. It helps, but don't spend time there in your first year. Okay. But yes, as you grow, it becomes more and more important, because then your technical skills, you would have learned something, but you have to then at some point when you start, you have to then see how your technical skills are solving what problem. Then that industry knowledge starts becoming important. In your first career, it is not that important. I'm not saying don't spend time in it, but between learning a technology and learning industry business in the first year, spend time in learning the technology. Okay. If someone wants to do how to survive this field, sir, what I did not understand that. Which field? Banu, which field? Survive this field. What is that question?
Maybe you have managed to scare him enough about all the different things that we need to understand. And
IT field. Okay. No, there is nothing called surviving. Okay. You have to thrive in the IT field. Don't worry. As I said, this happens because there is so much of information overload. People think that automation, AI is just, taken away everything. IT field, you have to work from 24 hours, 18 hours, because those are the stories we hear, right? But what is really happening is that those stories are not all the stories. We don't hear the good stories. I'm telling you the good story. The good story is that if you really spend time in the way that I told you, you will not think about surviving. You will like the job. You will finish the job on time. Most times are not. Yes, there are times when you have to anyway stretch. I also stretch that. I'm not saying that all the time it will work, but most of the time it will work. If you keep up with what is happening in the industry, you understand that industry. When I say industry, it means your organization also and your team. If you spend time in understanding that, then if you spend time in skilling up yourself, if you actually don't waste time in doing the same thing again and again, you solve the problem at the root. If you spend time in thinking more and execution less, okay, you will like the IT field. I can promise you that. And you can take my number. You can, if you do those things for first 2 years, you can talk again after 2 years. So I don't get scared. Don't think that it is very difficult to survive in IT field. No, IT field is not just for survival. No job should be about survival. All right. I think we are fortunate enough that there are options in IT field. Okay. So go and enjoy your work, enjoy your team. It will not feel like you're fighting for survival. You will look forward to going to the office very next day. That's what you should think about, Subhanu.
think I don't think there'll be any more questions. Probably we can conclude.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. I think it was a pleasure. I hope, and I really sincerely hope that this will help you in some way. Obviously, there is no this thing to say that I have given you all the inputs. These are all based on, as I said, my experiences of my colleagues, experiences of what I have. I still deal with interns and freshers, what they go through. Those are the experiences that I have tried to share. This is the advice that. So if I have to conclude this, I believe in this content. If I had to tell myself something 20 years back, 22 years back, this is what I would tell. So that I'm better prepared. Okay. Hence the content. So I'm getting a lot of thank you. It means a lot. Thank you so much. And you guys have a good evening and rest of the good week. Okay. And my best wishes to you. Good luck with your career. And I'm sure that most of you will actually make it big, whatever you choose.
Thank you, Amit. Just like you said, it is all things which you wish you knew, and I think I also can relate to that. Most of the things which you mentioned were all things which I was also reflecting on these things. Now we realize, but if we knew it, back then when we started, we could have done a lot better. The things you wish always. So thank you for sharing your experience and wisdom with all of our participants. I take this opportunity to formally thank you, and also all of you who have turned up today to listen. So once again, thanking you all, and let's.
Thank you so much. Bye.